In 1953, Rupert Murdoch returned from university to take the reins of his father's newspaper, the Adelaide News. Just 3 years after this, he also bought up the Perth-based Sunday Times in 1956. And by 1960, he also owned the Mirror newspaper, a title which was based in Sydney, New South Wales. Just 5 years on from this, Rupert Murdoch had also set up Australia's first national daily paper, which he called The Australian. And in 1968, when he was just 37 years old, he was the owner of a $50 million empire in Australia. And as a result of this, he decided to try his luck in the UK market, which he did through purchasing the News of the World paper, and then the following year he would take on the struggling Sun newspaper and turn it into one of the biggest selling publications in the UK. Fresh from this success, he hopped across the pond and in 1973 bought the Texas-based San Antonio News. He then went on to found a US national paper called The Star in 1974, and he would purchase the New York Post 2 years later. In 1979, he also founded News Corp as a holding company for his media outlets, and the 80s and 90s saw him take over news companies at a rapid pace. These would include the Chicago Sun-Times in Illinois, and in New York he took over 2 publications, the New York Magazine and the Village Voice magazine. In 1981, he hopped back across the pond and he purchased the 2 eminently respectable titles, the Sunday Times and the Times newspaper. In 1985, Rupert Murdoch moved into the entertainment industry. He bought up 20th Century Fox, as it was then known, and several smaller independent companies to make Fox Incorporated. In 1990, he moved into the Asian market, setting up Hong Kong-based Star TV. And then that same year, he also bought up US and UK publishing companies to form the publishing giant Harper Collins. And in 2005, he bought Intermix Media, the owners of the popular social networking site MySpace. 2 years after this, he purchased the Dow Jones, owner of the Wall Street Journal and a major financial information provider. However, his journey hasn't been without some controversy, as in 2011, phone hacking allegations would see the closure of the News of the World newspaper. And more recently though, in 2015, Rupert Murdoch made the announcement that he was handing the reins of 21st Century Fox, as it has since become known, to his son James. And that is how he became the media mogul of today.